Sometimes we'll see the golfer gets in there, their arms are like too bent, the handle's too far back. This is the precursor, them like flexing their arms and topping the ball through the impact area.
Yeah, can you show me the bad one more time there, Steve?
Yep.
Because another thing that gets looked over.
So let's do our setup, arms bent.
Yeah, there we go.
Hands are back.
Elbows facing each other.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then that's
gonna lead to the stuff we don't want.
right.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
The chicken wing, if you want to call it that. So we would say that, you know, keep your elbows close together, keep the left arm, the shaft in a straight line.
And when you say that, just for clarification, we're talking from here
yes,
down.
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha,
left arm and shaft in a straight line.
So it's not handle back.
No.
And then the arm. Right.
No.
Okay. Gotcha.
Left arm and shaft in a straight line, and we would practice just popping the balls out, keeping the left arm in a straight line with our arms straight, and then we'll touch on having the hips forward and extended where there's no weight on the back foot.
Yeah, perfect.
So we'd start off just by chipping. If we're teaching someone new, you know,
Yep.
get your arms propped close together, tight.
Yep.
Put the handle forward. You should be feeling like you're squeezing the club very tightly.
Gotcha.
None of the nonsense
Holding
of
the bird.
hold the bird or
Okay.
kill the bird, squeeze the toothpaste so it comes out.
Okay.
All right, so arms, radius in line, we're just popping the ball out.
Yeah, perfect.
Just keeping that same sensation we had at the setup all the way in the follow through. And you can see I'm fully stretched out. My hips are fully pushed forward. There's no weight on the back.
I want to talk to you today about Live View Golf. Now, you guys hear me say all the time that you need feedback when you're practicing. You need to know if you're actually doing what you're trying to do, and the best way to give yourself feedback ultimately is video. And not only is video the best way to give yourself feedback, but being able to see yourself simultaneously as you're doing a movement is the best form of video feedback. It's the best way I've seen to make changes in your swing and be able to correlate the differences between your feels and your reels. Live View is super easy to use and set up. Simply set it up behind or in front of you. You connect it with your iPad or phone, pop that on the ground. You can actually do your practice, see yourself as you're doing it, the best way to expedite your process. I encourage you guys to check out Live View Golf. We'll put a link in the description down below with a coupon code. Hey guys, Eric here, back outside at the Bethlehem Golf Club. In today's video, we're going to talk about what we think is the most important part of the golf swing, and it's really something that doesn't get talked about a lot. Now, here with me is Steve Saracki. You guys have seen Steve in some of the other videos we did this year, last year, and we actually did our Draw Every Ball program together last fall. Steve and I coach together at CogornoGolf.com. Steve also coaches in-person lessons at Woodcrest Country Club in New Jersey. If any of you guys are in the area and would like in-person lessons, would highly recommend Steve. If you guys do want to work with us online, would love to work together at CogornoGolf.com. Regardless of what your goal is, Steve and I would love to build you a personal practice plan, really help take your game to the next level. We'll put the info for Steve and the site in the description down below, but let's start talking about what we think is the most important part of the swing.
Yep.
We'll do a little switcheroo here, Steve.
Yeah.
So to get right to it,
Yeah.
right, the most important part of the swing that gets very little love is the follow through.
Right.
Yeah. Happens past the ball.
Yep.
Right. And we were talking a little bit before about if a newer golfer comes in, or if someone comes in and they struggle with basic solid contact, low point, ball flight pattern, really, you know, the first things they should learn is how to get set up to the ball.
Yep.
And then really how to move through the ball.
Yeah.
Even
I
before the
agree.
backswing.
I agree.
And so in this video, we want to talk about the key points,
Yep.
a couple of key fundamental pieces, and how you can actually implement this right away in your swing to help hit the ball more solid with a predictable curve pattern. And so, Steve, why don't we hop right into your setup position?
Yeah.
And let's talk about the follow through.
Yep.
Let's talk about what the components are that we think are important.
Yeah.
And how someone could start to execute it.
So I would say that just starting with the setup is we would like to see the radius, the left arm and the shaft being a straight line, and have your arms close together. And we'd say arms close together, having the pockets of the elbows facing the camera. Perfect. And like I said, left arm and shaft in a straight line. Sometimes we'll see the golfer gets in there, their arms are like too bent, the handle's too far back. This is the precursor, them like flexing their arms and topping the ball through the impact area.
Yeah, can you show me the bad one more time there, Steve?
Yep.
Because another thing that gets looked over.
So let's do our setup, arms
Yeah,
bent.
there we go.
Hands are back. We're
Elbows facing each other.
Right.
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 Yeah.
And then that's
Going to lead to the stuff we don't want.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Perfect.
chicken wing, if you want to call it that. So we would say that, you know, keep your elbows close together, Keep the left arm and the shaft in a straight line.
And when you say that, just for clarification, we're talking from here down.
Correct.
Yeah,
left arm and shaft in a straight line.
So it's not handle back.
No.
And then the arm. Right.
No.
Okay. Gotcha.
Left arm and shaft in a straight line, and we would practice just popping the balls out, keeping the left arm in a straight line with our arms straight, and then we'll touch on having the hips forward and extended where there's no weight on the back foot.
Yeah, perfect.
So we'd start off just by chipping. If we're teaching someone new, get your arms propped close together, tight.
Yep.
Put the handle forward. You should be feeling like you're squeezing the club very tightly.
Gotcha.
None of the nonsense
Holding
of
the bird.
hold the bird or
Okay.
kill the bird, squeeze the toothpaste so it comes out.
Okay.
All right, so arms, radius in line, we're just popping the ball out.
Yeah, perfect.
Just keeping that same sensation we had at the setup all the way in the follow through. And you can see I'm fully stretched out. My hips are fully pushed forward. There's no weight on the back.
And so let's talk through some of these pieces here.
Yep.
Let's start with the arm structure, right?
Yep.
So you're building the arm structure at the setup position.
Right.
And then from a feel perspective, someone who bends the arms too much, let's say,
Yep.
In the follow through, what are some of the things they might be feeling to accomplish that?
Steel rods.
Yeah.
Arms or steel rods are in a cast. And I would tell them to hit the ground.
Gotcha.
No, it's okay. Just get up there and just punch the ground.
Yeah.
Right. If you can hit the ground, that's going to facilitate stretching your arms and pushing them away from you. I would say the first thing to do is, squeeze your arms, get the left arm and shaft in a straight line. I would literally just have the golfer practice just punching the ground, right? Just hit the ground and keep your arms straight.
And hitting really solid little punch shots.
So that'd be how I would start to build this part first.
And if let's do one more, Stephen, if we could, even just a practice swing and hold that follow through position.
Yeah.
Just on the arm structure.
Just want me to stop just past the
Yeah, let's do that same thing. That looks good. So I mean, some of the things too, as we start to work in that people can look at, let's continue a little farther.
Okay.
Let's say from here, the arms, obviously the steel rods.
Yep.
The distance between the elbows is tight or smaller. If they started to get farther apart,
the club would pull closer to my body.
Right, exactly.
So pushing it away.
And we're feeling like the butt of the club is pretty much maxed out in terms of how far it could go from your body.
Correct.
Compared to it being too
Pushed
close.
away.
Pushed too far.
Right.
And so let's say that's the arm component.
Yep.
Right. And then in with that, obviously we have how the torso
And
works.
that's where I was just getting towards. So I would be hitting, you just want to touch further than that.
Yeah.
So I'd be hitting the ground, right? Hitting the ground first. Hit the ground, keep my arms straight, just hit these like little chips. Then to get more club head speed, hit the ball farther, I'd keep my arm structure the same, but I'd start hitting the ground, then I would start adding in my hips high, tucking my hips. And that helps extend my body to start shallowing out the angle of descent and to start getting more power.
Love that.
Ball.
Yeah, let's do one with that in there.
Yep. So I'll add a little bit more club head speed. So I'll keep punching the ground. I'll add my extension in to hit a little higher and farther.
Yeah, nice. And so from a feel perspective, again, just kind of giving different ways to do the same things.
Yep.
As they have a sensation for the arms there, right? Those steel rods, feeling the tension, elbows closer, butt of the club farther, whatever the sense is. And then as they're working through with their body, would you say maybe like shirt buttons and belt buckle up towards the sky?
Yeah, you could say like, belt up, I would say belt high.
Yeah.
Or, your sternum up towards the sky. You're trying to get the sensation of like extending your body. Sometimes I'll say when you wake out of bed in the morning and you stretch, that sensation of like when you stretch, get out of the bed, that's what you want to feel like when you're hitting the ball.
And so for the hip motion relative to where you start is let's say it's quite literally it's up higher and it's more forward.
Yes.
Right. And so let's do the bad version with some of those pieces just to kind of show the visuals.
Want me to do all of them? Or
yeah. Let's do even without a ball, Steve. Let's just do like a bad version of the arm structure.
So they'd be hitting the butt of the club would be pulling towards them.
Yeah.
That's the old top, and they think they pick their head up, and all they do is they flex their arms.
Right.
So they flex their arms, and then they keep their hips down and their head down. Literally, I know I look funny right now, but this is how a lot of people look that we film.
Bingo, exactly.
This isn't too far off.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so let's do a good one again.
Yep.
We'll scrap that.
Yep.
That bad
do
one.
Do the good
out
one.
There. Yeah.
Fully extended, hips forward, butt of the club's pushed away from me with my arms fully extended.
That's perfect. Good. Let's do a hit one with that, Steve?
Yep. A good one?
Yeah, let's do a good one.
Yep, just punch it out there.
And so as the hips work in here, I think some checkpoints for people. Steve's shirt buttons are they're pointed more up than down.
Yep.
Right? The belt buckle is more towards the target than the shirt buttons and up.
Yep.
And then the hips are fully turned.
Correct.
by the time we get here.
Yep.
Right. So I see all the time that trail hip, knee and foot back.
And
right?
it's I'm glad you mentioned about the turn. It's the extension. It's the raising up of the hips, the tucking that opens them up.
Yes.
So the more the hips extend, that's how they open. Some people think turn, and as they turn, they'll turn and stay in flexion.
Yeah.
And that's not the right way to do it.
And what are some feels in terms of that turning part? Maybe lengthening the trail leg, right?
Yeah, if you want to get into a little bit of detail on that, you'd feel like your legs are high, so you might be extending the legs or straightening them, which helps facilitate the hips rising and turning.
Yeah, I love that. And so, I mean, that's a lot of the feedback that we would give on a regular daily basis of how do I build this in? You know, what are a couple pieces that I'm going to think about?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I can get the club and lead arm in one line.
Yep.
I can have my arms closer with my elbows this way, right?
So right off the bat, if you're doing that, you would take out like 30% of the thin hits just by getting the setup right.
Yeah, it's something that gets looked over a lot.
Oh, definitely.
And then as I work in, my arms are going to remain feeling very straight, steel rods.
Yep.
I'm going to have sensations for me as though my belt buckle shirt buttons are forward and up.
Correct.
And I like to feel as though my trail leg is lengthening, both legs lengthening.
Yep.
As I do that full extension piece.
And that helps facilitate the hips being high, turning and extending them.
Love
the
that.
straightening of the legs.
And this is one similar to a lot of the topics we've talked about in this new set of videos, which is fairly universal for all golfers.
Yep.
Right? This isn't one that like, hey, only work on this if you have this, X, Y, whatever. Fairly universal, and especially in the beginning phases, like if you struggle with consistent solid contact, with thin shots, with compressing the ball at all, this would be an excellent part. I mean, you could argue this is the part to start for everyone.
Really, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take the tour, you could take every player on the tour and stop them by the time their arms are parallel to the ground. They're all going to look the same.
Yeah.
We could take our 17 handicaps that we teach at our golf schools, stop them when their arms are parallel to the ground. They're going to look the same. When you compare the two together, they'll be like, oh, wow, I see it.
Yeah.
See, a lot of we were saying earlier, a lot of the golfers can't even recognize their own pattern.
Right, exactly. And this is one to start with too, where maybe ideally they're practicing this, you would record from face on.
Yes, definitely.
And see, hey, okay, how straight or bent are my arms? Am I fully forward and up compared to normal? And just start punching the balls. I mean, we have I think we have an 8-iron there. These are going, no more than 100-yard type shots.
Yeah.
Just to start out with.
Yep. Just get the form right.
Yeah, in the beginning. Go slow, go short, and then build up with that. So guys, those are some checkpoints to use to start out your practice sessions, maybe even as a refresher if someone's struggling. Like go back to the basics, work these over. You guys have any questions with these, as always, leave a comment down below. Steve and I will respond. Steve, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you got
it. Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you liked the video, do us a favor, click that like button down below. It really helps us out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do want some more personal coaching from Steve and I, we would love to see you at cogornogolf.com. We're going to put 2 cards on the screen. One of the cards here is going to be a similar video to the one you just watched. Give you a little more detail and info if you like these YouTube videos. If you do want more coaching, want to check out cogornogolf.com, we'll include the logo here on the screen. Go ahead and click that and we'll see you there.